Hello children, welcome to the online classes. Children, till now you have learned different basic life processes that are exhibited by the living organisms to live successfully on this earth, isn't it? So among those you have learned nutrition, taking in food and consuming it, digestion, respiration, transportation, nervous coordination. All these are the life processes carried on by a living organism to live successfully on this earth. Okay, living is important, but after a few months or after a few years, every organism has a date of birth and at the same time a date of death. So every organism has to leave the world one day or the other. So after the death also there will be life. How? These organisms, whatever are there on this earth, they are reproducing. So reproduction is another basic life process which is very essential for the existence or for continuation of one's race on this earth. A tiger, a lion, a leopard, a dog, a cheetah, a bird, an insect, human beings or microorganisms, whatever the organism is, they have to continue their own race. For continuing their own race, the organisms are reproducing their young ones. So today our topic is reproduction in living organisms. Reproduction. In this reproduction in living organisms, last year you have learnt cell and its structure. In the middle of the cell there is, in the center of the cell there is nucleus. The nucleus has a genetic material DNA. The DNA is enveloped by a membrane, nuclear membrane. So it is called nucleus. In eukaryotes, nucleus is present. In prokaryotes, there is no nucleus. Prominent nucleus is not there. Only nucleoid is there. But DNA is there. Isn't it? Freely in the cytoplasm. There is no nuclear membrane surrounding the DNA. You came across this. DNA also you have learnt. The abbreviation. Deoxyribonucleic acid. See children, if we observe, if we see some of the people around us, they look exactly like their parent. Most of us, not some, to be frank to speak, most of us resemble our parents, isn't it? How we resemble our parents? Just because of this deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is responsible for the transmission of parental characters to the young ones. DNA copying, it is called DNA copying. DNA copying is very essential. DNA copying. Why DNA copying is very essential? Because the parental characteristics, the parental traits are transferred to the young ones, to their offspring. Offspring means young ones. The parental traits are transferred to their offsprings or young ones. While they are transmitted like that, while they are getting transferred, the certain very important features also are transmitted from parents to young ones. That is disease resistance power. Every one of us has some resistance towards certain diseases. By birth, we have that resistance. That resistance is because of this DNA copying. If there is no DNA copying, what is DNA copying? It's nothing but the transmission of parental traits to the young ones. It is possible through DNA copying. If DNA copying is not there, we will not get immunity from our parents. So, as the immunity or disease resistance power is transferred from parent to the offspring, it is called inherited immunity. Inherited. This is the inherited immunity, inherited disease resistance part, that is transferred from parent to the offspring because of this DNA copying. Is it clear? So, because of this inherited resistance or this inherited immunity, we are resistant, our body is resistant towards certain diseases. That is about DNA copying. So, every organism has that DNA copying irrespective of prokaryote or eukaryote, because even prokaryotes have DNA. The offspring resemble the adults, young ones, parents. Next one, okay, the offspring came into the world. The young ones are reproduced by the parents. The young ones are surviving on this earth. But on the earth, what's going on nowadays, we can see around us. There is a lot of variation, lot of changes, environmental changes, climatic changes. All these the young ones have to face. So, suddenly there are some variations in temperature or in climatic conditions in the environment. Is the organism dying? Does any organism want to die? No, not at all. Any organism on this earth wants to live, does not want to die. So, what do? They develop some variations. What are variations? Variations are nothing but the changes that they make according to the environmental conditions. The changes that are made by the young ones in their body according to the environmental conditions. The best example is the desert plants or desert animals. According to the environment there, do they die? They do not die. They adapt themselves. They develop different characteristics. To check the water loss, the leaves are modified into spines. Take for example camel, it does not have sweat pores because it wants to store water. Who tells that it is very hot here, you do not develop sweat pores in your skin, or you modify your leaves into spines and go? Does anyone go and tell? No one tells. The organism itself, it develops some variations, modifications according to the environment. These variations or these modifications are called adaptations or variations. These variations are very essential for a species, a group of organisms. Anyhow, in 9th class only you have learned genus and species. Species are a particular group of organisms which can interbreed with each other. All of us belong to the species sapien. Sapiens means human beings. All the human beings, irrespective of the nation, maybe an American, Russian or Chinese or Nepali or Indian or any other country, African, they can interbreed with each other. An African can marry an Indian can marry an American. They can give birth to young ones. So, they can interbreed with each other in a species, in a particular species. That species we can consider as population also. Horse population, tiger population, human population, different populations are there. These are nothing but the species. Different species. One species forms one population. We are human population. These variations are very essential for a species to survive successfully. Not in the desert means only one Wapansia plant changed its leaves into spines. Is it enough? That plant will live and the others will perish. That's not the case. All the Wapansia, all the cactus or all the camels exhibit the same variation, same changes in their structural organization. Then only it can be considered as a variation on the whole. The variation in a species to adapt itself to the environmental conditions is very essential for the successful survival on this earth. That is about variation. The second very important point is variations. Variations are essential for a species but not for an individual. For whole species. Whole species means whole population, one population, one species forms one population, human species. Crow, it's a species. Parrot, horse, they are different species, isn't it? A parrot can interbreed with a parrot. A crow can interbreed with a crow. So, all these species all together, one species, there must be a variation to survive successfully in the changing environmental conditions. It's very essential. So, on the whole, facing all these, the organisms are not dying at all. They are living on this earth successfully, making some adaptations. There are different modes of reproduction. In some organisms, only one organism undergoes reproduction. It reproduces itself into 2, 4, 8 like that. Some organisms, they need 2 organisms. In some species, they need 2 organisms for reproduction. That is sexual reproduction. If only one organism involves in reproduction, reproducing its own race. Reproducing its own race. Only a single organism is reproducing its own race. It is a sexual reproduction. If 2 organisms involve, one male and the other one is female, 2 organisms involve in reproduction to give rise to young one, it is sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, only one organism. Sexual reproduction, 2 organisms are involved. So let us see the different modes of asexual reproduction. The first one is, in asexual reproduction, the first one, let us see fission. Fission. For example, protozoans. Monera, Protista. You learnt last year fungi, plantae, animalia, 5 kingdoms classification by Whittaker. So then in the Protista, protozoans, they undergo fission. For example, this is amoeba with a nucleus. What does it do to divide into 2? It elongates its body and it slowly starts shrinking in the middle, shrinking its body wall, and the slit deepens. Shapeless amoeba, any shape you can draw, no problem. Slowly this nucleus also elongates accordingly. This also the slit. This is nucleus. Finally, 2 amoebae. It divides into 2. Any shape you can draw, no problem. So, one amoeba can extend itself and deepens its body wall, makes a slit, and at the same time nucleus also elongates and divides into 2, and 2 amoebae are produced from the parent amoeba. This is fission in protozoans. For example, leishmania, it causes Kala-Azar disease. This leishmania also undergoes fission. Understood? So, fission in amoeba. This is one type of asexual reproduction in protozoans. In Plasmodium, malarial parasite. In Plasmodium, multiple fission occurs. One organism divides like this into number of organisms. That is multiple fission. Binary fission, one organism into 2. Multiple fission, one into many. So fission may be binary fission like amoeba and leishmania, or multiple fission in Plasmodium. Yes, next one, budding. Budding you can observe in yeast. body wall, a small bud-like outgrowth develops, and this nucleus also slowly it goes like this, and finally what happens, this body wall becomes very narrow, and this nucleus also becomes very narrow. It finally gets separated into a daughter yeast. Yes. So one amoeba, it developed on the body wall a small bud-like structure. The nucleus elongated and moved towards the bud. It also got separated into two, and finally the bud got detached from the parent. The same case in Hydra also. Hydra is a coelenterate. This is a fungus, unicellular fungus, yeast. This is budding in Hydra and yeast. On the lateral side, on any side of the body wall, a small bud-like outgrowth develops, and the nucleus also divides into two parts, and one goes to the bud and one will be for the parent. The bud gets detached and exists as a new individual. Next one, fragmentation. Fragmentation you can see in planaria. If you cut this planaria into 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts, each part grows into a new individual. See, this is planaria. If you cut it like this, and then how many planaria grow from here? Altogether, into how many pieces I have cut that? 1, 2, 3. So each part develops into a new planaria. Yes. So this is fragmentation, separating the cutting into 1, 2 or 3 or 4, cutting into different pieces. How many pieces you cut into, those many planaria will grow. That is fragmentation. Fission, budding, fragmentation. These are the different modes of asexual reproduction. There is in fission, binary fission, multiple fission. Binary fission in amoeba and leishmania. Those two are protozoans. And in plasmodium, multiple fission. Plasmodium is also a protozoan. Next one, budding. Budding we can observe in yeast, unicellular fungus, and in Hydra, it is a coelenterate. And fragmentation we can see in planaria. If we cut its body into 3 parts or 4 parts, each piece grows into a new individual. That is about fragmentation. Can we consider this as asexual reproduction now? Because only one organism is involving in producing new individuals. That is why this is the mode of asexual reproduction. About plants, you can learn in the next session. Have a nice day, children.